this is Rein and Vaska from VaskaFilms from VaskaFilms Epic Independence Day, and today we're going to do an After Effects tutorial on this frozen in time explosion effect, and here's the final effect. So as you see, we got some cool 3D debris and cool explosion, and so let's get into the tutorial. So I have my clip here, which is just Kalev, who is sitting on a chair, pretty much, and then we have these track points in the background here to make that track easier. They're just little post-its, very expensive, they cut into a budget. Okay, anyway, so we're making a composition with this, and same thing. And so as you might have guessed, we're going to track the camera, or use a 3D camera tracker. But before we do that, just a quick thing that I like to do before using that is just to give it curves and give it a little more contrast by brightening up the brights a little and darkening the darks, so that, you know, as you can see, it just gives it a little more contrast so that some points that wouldn't have stood out earlier kind of stand out for the track. But the other thing that's going to throw this track off is right there in that window. You can see the reflection of me with the camera and a bunch of other stuff in the background that's moving in the opposite direction of the camera, because it's in the reflection, which means it's going to look, the track is going to be very confused as to what that is. So what I'm just going to do is take pen tool, make a little mask right around there, but hit M for mask properties, change it to a subtract mask, and then just animate the mask path and just have it follow the window frame, the painting throughout the shot. Alright. And almost done. And there we go. So you can scrub through your footage, and well, right there we're getting a little bit of it, so I'm just going to turn up the expansion just a little so that now during the whole frame, during the whole shot, you don't see reflection. So right now, if you just went to the tracker and track camera, it would say that the 3D camera tracker will ignore all the masks and effects, and so we don't want to do that. See, it's going to ignore this and that, which is not what we want. So, and the mask. So we're just going to right click, pre-compose, make sure you move all the attributes to the new composition, so then basically it just thinks that's the clip. Then you click track camera, and that'll be analyzing in background, step 1 of 2. So now it's solving the camera, well, and it's done. So now you can see there's a bunch of little dots everywhere that kind of follow. Some of them appear in points and then just disappear and stuff. But they kind of seem to stay on your point. And so this is the track. Just these points are a little small, so I'll just turn up the size. And so you can see it's got a bunch of them everywhere. And so if you go into advanced and you see the average error, we're getting an average error of 1.22, which is okay. Usually when you track, it should be under 1. Like if this were for a film, I would make sure this is under 1 and tweak it until it's under 1. But for now, it's going to be fine since this is a tutorial. Now though, since this 3D camera tracker is already done its stuff, we can go in here, delete the mask, and delete curves. And then when you go back in here, the points will be the same. Just that you'll see that nothing ever tracks in there, because that would have made it all weird. So now as you see, you move around your mouse, there's a bunch of, this target is appearing everywhere, and that's just selecting like 3 random points and putting a little target in the middle there. You usually don't really want to do that because it's not really selecting 3 points that are on the same plane. See how this one is in front of that one, which is in front of that one. So what you're going to want to do is, since, oh wow, I didn't catch those points, we're going to take, oh, there it goes. I'm going to take some of the track points, maybe I'll go like, well, let's just turn up the target size a little bit. There, there, and there. Is that, maybe that doesn't work very well. Maybe there, there, and there. Yeah. So, well, actually, we're going to have like an explosion. I don't know. that'll do for now. Then you're going to right click, create solid and camera, and now this is little purple, or probably it's going to be green. Actually, usually it's green. Anyway, but if you scrub through your footage now, you see that there is this purple solid that appears that it's in the room, other than lighting doesn't match and all that stuff. But it like moves away something a big pink thing would if it were in your scene. So that looks pretty good for now. Well, but like, you know, it's still solid. Yeah. The next thing we're going to do is put in the actual explosion. So I'm going to use stuff from Action Essentials 2. Some stock footage. So I'm going to use the car bomb, or it really looks like he blew up a car there. I don't know. But we're going to take like, oh, he masked that out right there. I didn't notice that before. Anyway, we're going to take like a frame. I should use that. Anyway, we're going to take like a frame like there. And then we're going to blend it with, I didn't import, Explosion 1, which is nice. And then we're just going to rotate that over to fix up that bottom edge right there. So we're going to bring this in, and here's what we're going to do. We're going to click on here, and we're going to click into our project, hold down Alt or Option, drag the car bomb onto the track solid, then let go of your mouse, then let go of Alt, and now what you have is that now the explosion stays on the wall just like the tracker did. I mean the tracking solid did. So then we're going to find that frame that we liked again, something about there, right click, time, freeze frame. So now we have the explosion and it stays on the wall during the shot, but it's not positioned correctly. So scale it up a little, maybe a lot, maybe more, then P. Whenever you're dealing with 3D, you don't really want to move it around with your mouse, because as you notice, this is Z space, and that's really what the entire point of the tracking was to get the Z space. So if you move that back in Z space, it's gonna look really weird and fake. So you just want to move these to what you wanted instead of using just the mouse. So now, oh, we're seeing the top of that. That's not gonna work. So what the heck? Oh, anyway. So we're gonna scale that up. P, move that up. Maybe to the side a little. And now we have a big explosion in the room. But something that you might notice is that it's moving a little bit much right there on that couch, and supposedly it's kind of in front of the couch, and that looks kind of fake right now. So I'm going to move this up a little bit so we don't have to mask out his head right there, maybe even more. And we're going to move it forward in Z space, actually, even though I just said not to. But for now, we're just going to do that so that it looks a little more like it's in midair. So that it looks kind of like it's not perfectly on the wall. It's like coming out of the wall, kind of. Let's see. Yeah, that looks pretty good. So we're going to turn this to screen, or maybe add. Add might be a little bright. But right now that just makes it look really weird. But we're going to put in some smoke. And what I found is this stock picture. Nice big quality, and just got a little glow on there. We're just going to use the smoke from it. So we are going to duplicate this, and then on this one, we're going to do the same thing here. Is we're going to alt click, drag onto it, and now this will act like that. But since it's such a big picture, it's like it's on screen, so you won't turn off screen. And it's a very big picture, so you're going to scale it down. Put it, oops, see what I mean? Moved it forward in Z space in front of that. That's not what you want to do. So I'm going to move it up and to the side, back. I'm actually purposely going to move this back in Z space so that it kind of has a little bit of difference. If you see it kind of like peeking over the edge, and it looks a little more 3D. But this is going to like go over his head a lot, and I mean, we're probably going to end up rotoring this out anyway, but let's just rotate that like that. So then, well, I don't know, that might not really be what we want. Okay, anyway, let's watch that. So now, the explosion looks better even though it's on screen, because there's kind of a black background behind it now. And yeah, it goes over his head a little, but we're gonna have to do that anyways. Alright. And actually I'm just gonna move this to the side a little. And up a little. Okay. That looks a little weird. Let's just watch over this. And okay, bring it forward a little bit. Space. Sorry, this is kind of boring, but okay, I'm pretty sure this is good. So now we just have nice smoke there, and we're just gonna duplicate this and bring it on top. That doesn't actually do anything because it's still behind it, so we're just gonna push it forward in Z space until it's in front by quite a lot. Then we're going to rotate it so it's just kind of like, you know, different, and put it right there. But that looks really weird right now, so we're just gonna sew this out. Zoom to like, well, maybe a little closer than that, like that, and then just like give it an ellipse right there, and then feather it. So hit F for feathering. Oh, there's the cat in the background. And then unsolo it, and now you have some smoke. That's looking a little weird though, because it's scaled up a bunch. So you can scale it down, and let's see how that looks. Maybe scale it up a little more. Oh, not that much. There. What? Oh, there. I was gonna say. Alright. So, let's watch that. Okay, maybe we should speed this up in the final thing. But I might not, and then you might hear me right now, and that might sound kind of weird, but anyway. Okay, so that looks pretty nice. At the end, you can kind of see that glow over there, but that. Now, as I said earlier, we're going to use Explosion 1 here just to fix up that bottom edge because it looks a little weird. So I'm going to duplicate the car bomb, and then we're just going to Alt drag Explosion 1 onto it. Oops, that didn't work. Alt drag it on. That didn't. Okay, let's try that again. Put it on. What the heck? I'm sorry, hold on. Let's just move this up to the top. Okay, that works. Alright, but it's frozen at frame at a very, not really a point that we want, unless maybe you want that, but for me, I don't. So I'm going to open this up, and you're going to see it has a time remapping on it, and you're just going to unkeyframe that, and then find a frame that you do like. I like that. And then I'm going to do the same thing, right click time, freeze frame. So now it'll say like that. And we're going to go back into our composition. And R for rotation, and let's rotate that like upside down. And then scale it up. Sort of. Let's see. Maybe we should put this under the car. It doesn't do much. Anyway, we're just gonna give my example. I just had this really big. Yeah, that looks like what I did, or something like that. Yeah, something like that. Let's see. It does not look like that's on the screen. That makes it way too bright. screen. Maybe we'll turn this on ad or something. Yeah, I don't know. But so now we have that. But just to give it a little parallax, what I like to do is bring this forward in, oops, not the car bomb. This one, bring it forward in Z space so that it just gives it a little bit of parallax as you kind of move, maybe a little more than that. Like, oops, not that much. Okay, let's try this. And right over his head there. Oh, Crash, what do you want? Alright, let's take a look at that. That looks pretty nice. It's still a little too forward though. And actually, I don't really like that frame of the explosion. So I'm just going to go in here, open it up, do that, find the frame I like a little better, and kind of like that actually. And then I'm just going to time freeze frame. See how easy it is to change it like after the fact? That's what I kind of like. So as you can see, we have a nice parallax of the explosions kind of on top of each other. It makes it look a lot more 3D. Something I just did is I took this, duplicated it, and put it a little in front of in Z space so that it looks kind of like there's real 3D smoke, even though it's just a bunch of pictures. But now we're going to do lighting. Like, obviously, he looks like he's in a room, not like there's an explosion right in front of him. So we're going to make a layer, select composition, layer, new, solid, set that to like an orangish shade, hit OK, and oops, turn it to add or screen, but I like add a lot better for this type of stuff. And then I'm just going to go to 50 so I have a little open space, and then just kind of get a ellipse right around the explosion area. And you're done. Just kidding. So now you want to just feather this out a bunch so it just kind of expands everywhere. But even that is like way too much. Like you can tell it's just it's like nothing. So you want to just hit T for opacity. I didn't design this software. T doesn't make a lot of sense for opacity. But anyway, maybe it's transparency or something. I don't know. But you want to turn that up to like, I don't know, I did 30 I think in my example, but maybe I'll go a little more just to get that intensity. So when we make when Kalev makes 3D debris, we're actually going to put it behind this orange solid so that it's kind of glowing orange too. Or maybe we'll put a light in 3D, I don't know. We haven't done that part yet. So I'm not going to run through the whole thing, I'm just going to show you. That's what it looks like. Yeah, so that's, wow, I keep doing that. And yeah, that's nice. Give us a nice glow. Next thing we're going to do is, as you saw in my example, I had a bunch of sparks in the air. And I didn't use 3D sparks. I'm not using anything 3D until we come to 3D debris. But even without 3D debris, it's a pretty cool effect. So I just found this stock picture of a bunch of smoke. Oh my god. Sparks. And I'm going to, well, first, I'm going to take like one of our, smoke layers, duplicate it, stick it on top, delete the mask, and just kind of move it right there so that oops, actually I probably shouldn't do it that way. Just move it there. So then I'm just going to alt click, drag, nope, that didn't work. Click on this, that, alt, drag. Alright, now this will act in 3D, but we want to scale it up. Actually, no, we want to bring it really forward in like Z space, so it's like right up against the camera. Like literally right against the camera. Okay, so now have sparks, but honestly that's really weird. That doesn't look right. Let me check something. Oh, it's like scaled up a ton. Hold on. It's rotated a little weird too. Oh well. Let's just do that. And set it to screen. Okay, that's a little too much, so let's scale it up some more. Okay, now let's look at this, and there's way too many. So hold on, let's just scale that up some more. 100. Okay, well, that's a little too much. There. To the side, to the side. Okay, there. And let's have a look. Don't think these are forward enough in C-space. Let me just check. Okay, that looks okay. But we just to make it look a little more 3D, we're going to duplicate it, and the bottom one, we're going to push it back in Z-space a lot more. Maybe like rotate it around so it looks kind of different. And then I'm going to scale it down too, so it's a bunch of tiny ones. And let's see how that looks. And I think I'd give these a mask in my example because they are way too much and they're like everywhere. Kind of ruining the effect. So we're just gonna, I wonder if you can give them both a mask at the same time. That would be cool. Never tried that, so don't. That might not work. Yeah, it doesn't work. Just made it on a shape layer. Okay, so I'll just take that, give it a mask like that, I guess. And take the mask. Oh, let's just solo out this layer. Feather it. Maybe use the expansion. Turn it in. Okay, and then let's take that mask and copy it over to this. But since it's back in Z-space, it's going to be a little weird. So, you know what? That did not really work. Let's just do it separately. So, there. Okay. Nice. And make it go inward. Select the mask. Mask. Move it like there. And then feather it a bunch. Okay. Now if we unsolo this, it's not as wild. Well, it needs to be more wild, actually. There we go. Let's try that. So now, you see, now there's not too many everywhere, but it still looks like the room is full of sparks. So there is our almost final effect, and it looks pretty nice. So we could rotate out his head, but we're getting a pretty long tutorial here already, and we still have to do 3D debris. So I'm going to be lazy, take these and move them up. Oops, I'm not selecting the right thing, huh? Take those and just move them up a little bit so that his head never gets on top of them, and that will just save a lot of time. It's kind of lazy, you know, when you go in the movies and you see like an effect and they just like chose not to rotor them out. How cheesy. Well, I don't know. Alright, let's see. Sorry, this is very slow for some reason. But, as you can see, I think we just barely cleared it there. I don't know. That's fine. It'll do. Okay. So, for now, yeah, it'll do. So now we're going to do the 3D debris, which is going to be in an app called Cinema 4D Lite, which comes with After Effects. So don't think you need to go buy it, because like the real Cinema 4D costs a lot of money. So to get that set up, what you want to do is be able to have in C4D to see all the track points that you did with the 3D camera tracker, like all those points. You want to be able to see them in 3D space, which you actually can with C4D if you do this right. So you want to find a frame where there's kind of a lot of tracking points. There, let's try something. 100, okay, so you're going to find a frame that has a lot of little points, and then you're just going to drag around the whole thing It's going to select every single point, and it's going to try to make a plane. I don't even know why it thinks that. And then you're going to right click, and you're going to create 156 nulls. And that's going to take a while. So now you're going to have a ton of nulls in your shot. And if you just like, you open it up and it's weird because you have a bunch of nulls everywhere. But don't worry, because here's what we're going to do. File, export, max on, oh, you have to go in project, I guess. Okay, file. You select the comp, I think. Okay, you go to file, export, max on Cinema 4D exporter. We are going to call this 3D free, and I'm going to save that to like, it always wants to save it to volumes or something. Okay, anyway, so now it's saved all those little points in 3D, and you're going to import. By the way, that was Command I to import. It should be on your desktop if that's where you put it. 3D debris.c4d, because once you have light, the only way you can open files is through just importing them through After Effects and then opening them. So what you're going to want to do is edit original right there, or you can just do Command E, and that will open Cinema 4D light. And from now, Kalev is going to take over.
Hi, this is Kalev here from VaskaFilms Epic Independence Day, and today we're going to be doing some 3D debris and put it back into the After Effects project. Let me show you how to do it. There we go, 3D debris. Just kidding. So, as you can see here, I have this kind of thing. You're supposed to see like all those things that you layered on, like the sparks and the fire and the smoke, but I don't because I'm on a different account. And I don't have those things loaded into my shot. But you don't really need them for 3D. So you can just select every single one of them and delete them. So now you can see those little points right there? Those are points that it thinks were in your shot. So you've basically incorporated those into a 3D shot. By the way, for those that don't know, that's the camera. And see, it kind of did its best to tell what was where, and they're kind of points in the different spots. Oh, and now the nulls that you put in the shot. Every single one that you selected and exported into Cinema 4D are those. And so, let's get into it. Okay, so to create this effect, I'm in my camera view now, you just want to start with a sphere. A simple sphere. It's pretty nifty, right there. And then you want to add an explosion.
So play through your footage and show that sphere is moving with everything. See? See that? Are we still on the video?
Action. So you can see the sphere like moves like everything else, like if we're actually in the shot. And so yeah. And then you want to add an explosion effects deformer, which is basically the explosion, but since it's not actually on the sphere, it won't affect the sphere at all. So you can kind of see, you can sort of move it around, but then you want to drag it until it shows the little arrow pointing down in the box, and then it adds it to the sphere. So it looks pretty weird, but you need to tweak a lot of settings. You want to first go to explosion, set the variation to 100%. It just makes it look a little different, and it kind of changes up things a little. And then the blast speed, it kind of, you kind of want it at about like 70, I think. That's about good for me, for what I want. And then you probably want to set the variation on that at 100 too. It just kind of changes things to make it look a little more natural than like same pieces. I like it. And then you go into cluster, and to see how those kind of pieces look like puzzle pieces or something, you want to set it to polygons to make it a little more random. And then set the thickness to about like 20 or something, or you want to get to closer. And then you can do that and set some variation. I set it about 30, 35, I don't know. And then, so you want to go in the gravity. See, I kind of like turn it off a little, so then you can kind of move the little green thing out to kind of separate the pieces and make like the explosion like more stuff. And then you can have like well, not more particles necessarily, but just like have it be exploded further away.
Okay, keep the video on.
Uh-huh.
Now maybe keyframe that a little bit so that it you know what I mean? Like keyframe it, like go back a little, keyframe it from like there, and then move out a little. Just talk about don't make it like, okay, and then you're just gonna hit that.
Okay,
Explain what keyframing is.
Okay.
Just
Stop.
C4. Go.
Action. So now I just want to make it move a teeny little bit. So see this green thing? That is actually changing. Look, you can see. I think it changes the blast speed. So you can keyframe the blast speed. So like at the beginning, you go right click onto this, animation, add keyframe, and then you can go to the end of your shot and maybe move it out, like go to blast speed and set it to like 75 or something, like a small amount, and then hit animation, right click that little dot, animation, add keyframe. And so basically, if we scrub through our footage, you can kind of see that it moves out a small amount, not a lot to notice, but it just kind of creates the effect that it's not like completely frozen, like it's just moving a little. It's kind of cool. Yeah, and then, so you might notice it looks a little weird, so you can like, so you might just want to like make some more of it, because like, and make it smaller too. So like, I like to name things right, it's kind of convenient, and you should get into the habit of doing it. And then you can just, so what you want to do to duplicate a layer, you hit Command C, click out of it, Command V, and then you can rename this to like debris 2 or whatever. And then you can just copy that and click out Command V, and then you can just debris 3, and then something that I really like to do, it's called making a null, and then you like grab everything, like these 3 things, and drag it into the null. That way it's just a way to organize things. Like as you can see, this is a null, and it has all your things under it. So does this, and this has all the different parts inside. So then you want to probably take the second debris and maybe like move it a little, like move it over this way, or rotate it a little, you know, just to create the effect that it's not like just 2 things moved to side, like different. Like maybe you can move it back in Z space, move it up a little, push it back, you know, and then you can do something else, just offset the third one, like move it a little, rotate it. You can always, it's kind of nice to like rotate it against different axes, and then you can kind of just change it up a little, maybe move it a little bit farther away. Yeah?
Okay, that might look good on this frame, but in the end frame, you can't see any of this. Okay, you need to spread these out. I don't want thick, I want spread out.
Okay.
So just make them far apart.
Okay. So
Action.
You might have noticed they're a little close together, so you can, if you want, I kind of want to do this, I might want to push it a little far away, like, so one goes here, because it might, like, look good at different frames. You always want to, like, check to make sure the effect looks good on one frame, and then go to a different frame and see if it, like, messed up on another frame, because that often happens with effects. And then you can kind of, like, take the first one, push it over to the side, because if you go to the last frame or something, you can notice that they're not really in the middle of the shot anymore. And then you can just kind of offset it a little to make, and then push like the last one over a little. And so now we can see our video, go back to the beginning. It's pretty cool so far. Here you can see it's okay. You might want to look more debris. So first just name the null, debris 1. And then you can copy paste, Command C to copy it, unclick, and then Command V. And Command Z is to undo, by the way. Debris 2, and then see they're kind of like weird. So you probably want to select them both by shift clicking and moving them back in Z space using this red thing, and then maybe rotate it a little and offset the second one, because so far I actually haven't changed anything about it, so it really looks like there's just one. And then maybe push it back a little, because it seems like a little too much debris. Got the hiccups. Anyway, maybe push it to the side a little, and maybe you want to like rotate it on this blue thing. And then if we take a render, it just creates the look that maybe there was an explosion there. But you might want to add a texture. So right now we're in the objects, where it shows all the objects and nulls and all the things you put there. But if you click into the content browser, you can find these things like presets. So you double click on preset, double click on light, double click on materials, and go into fire. Now, I think the burning animated does good for this one. So you can drag it into your textures, but it won't affect anything until you drag it onto one. So, and then to edit it, just to make it look a little better, you want to go right into this, the material editor. You want to go into color, hit this little arrow next to the texture, hit edit, and on the noise, you want to set at burn. And then that material didn't change a lot, but anyway. And then you want to drag it until it shows that little plus square with a little arrow pointing down. Drag it onto that one, and then drag it onto your second one, and then let's take a render. It's pretty cool, right? So now we're going to go back into After Effects and put this project in.
Alright, this is Rein back, and we're back in After Effects, and something before we put in our 3D debris, you gotta make sure that you go into C4D, and that doesn't look like the right thing. This is something else, sorry. But you gotta make sure that when you go into your project, that's weird. Anyway, you gotta open it and save it. Make sure it's saved or else this won't work. So, we got our nice scene here. And so now, you can delete these track nulls. Yeah, they just kind of get in your way. So, delete. Then we're going to drop in our 3D debris right there. And defaultly it's set on software where you can see everything, but you want to just go to standard final so that you can see the final thing. But right now that just doesn't look very good. You know, it's just everywhere and stands out too much. So you want to put it under the sparks, that blends it a little more. You want to definitely put it under the lighting, which blends it even more. And then what I like to do is just bring it under the smoke, and then bring it under one of the layers of explosion. Oh, sorry, I wasn't doing anything there. Hold on. And bring it under the car bomb, which is one of the explosions. So, if you really wanted to make it like come out of the explosion, you could put it under both of them, but for now, I think that'll do good. And the nice thing is that this 3D debris stays tracked throughout the shot. So, when you're working with Cineware, and especially if you don't have a very fast computer, then what you're going to want to do is just set it to like third quarter, or sometimes I even go to like to render every 10 pixels, and then it gets like this horrible quality. I mean, I can't do that now, but like maybe like third or something, so you can just barely see it, and then, or maybe I'll go to half, and then I'll ramp preview this, and we'll have a look. Alright, so here is our final effect. Of course, we would have to do some sound design, which I would do with motion pulse, and we should probably roto out his head there, because the debris is totally getting on top of it. What the heck? Right there, but other than that, we're done.